on history.
For the thousands of witnesses in the Belgian wave, and many others who have documented their encounters at military bases, major airports, or in the skies above our cities, there is but one conclusion. There is something out there, and we need to take it seriously.
The difficulty, of course, of studying UFOs, if in fact they are manifestations of some advanced civilization, is that we are more or less in the same position of, let's say, laboratory mice attempting to understand the civilization of biology technicians in the laboratory is just beyond our imagination. And Arthur C. Clarke said that sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
History is filled with accounts of new phenomena, poorly understood phenomena, that have been ridiculed, made fun of. Why? Because science hasn't had a chance to look into it, or won't look into it for various reasons. We've got to turn that situation around.
We have this propensity in our culture to ridicule UFO sightings. It's a problem, and we need to be more mature about it in this country.
You know, it's not all aircraft lights and weather balloons and hoaxes. There is a genuine phenomenon here, something that the scientific community should want to look at. It should want to engage on this. I mean, potentially it has incredible things to teach us.
We have to keep in mind that our civilization is only about 40,000 years old, which is a blink in the lifetime of our galaxy. So we are babes in the woods. And with 200 billion stars, that adds up to an enormous number of planets, including, we now know, Earth-sized planets. So the potentiality for life out there does seem to be very great indeed.
We have very, very sophisticated analytical techniques that are being used all over the universe now to look at planets, stars, nebulosities. But started asking around, so has anybody done a really sophisticated, technologically astute approach to photographing UFOs so that you could really get, you know, what I sometimes call the Zapruder film of UFO sightings? And the answer was no. So in that vacuum, I decided to undertake what has become kind of a hobby project for me. I've started applying very sophisticated digital motion controls and tracking technology that we use in special effects, some of which we developed during the making of Close Encounters, to try to photograph a UFO.
Trumbull's project, known as UFOTOG, or UFO photography, uses precisely calibrated cameras and radio antennas to record images and data in the night sky. By simultaneously observing the same area from multiple vantage points, Trumbull's equipment can pinpoint the speed, trajectory, and altitude of any recorded object, and more accurately, determine if it is a conventional aircraft.
My plan is to make imagery that would be scientifically valid and that could be scrutinized, just like the Zapruder film, to where really good scientific photo-optical analysts could look at that and say, well, this is exactly what happened.
Taking a 2-second dark exposure.
And I think over the next few years, it's just unlikely that we won't encounter some evidence of intelligent life in the universe. I just think it's going to happen, and it's probably going to happen fairly soon. And I'd like to be part of that.
It's really an exciting time to be involved with UFO research. And there seems to be greater chances that we're going to capture even more solid data. But we also have to be extremely careful to hold it to the absolute highest standards.
There was something there, small flash out there, clockwise. The lake, unbelievable. We do not have anybody up there right now. I was driving north on 101.
In these, the most credible UFO cases of our generation, we have heard first-hand accounts that defy dismissal. A NATO-based commander, an FAA division chief, decorated pilots, police officers, a former governor. All have put their reputations on the line to deliver testimony that that they at first were unwilling to accept. Together with the evidence collected, from radar data to photographs to never-before-heard audio recordings, these sightings present a case that cannot be ignored.
It's the accumulation of overwhelming evidence from pilots, generals, government officials that prove, in my opinion, that we have an actual physical phenomenon that has not been explained. It's time to embrace this information and the new reports much more openly.
The command pilot of this particular flight, he was scared to death. He's not sure what it was.
Was the shape of a boomerang.
Huge triangular object. As large as 3 or 4 aircraft carriers.
And it came right at us, made not a sound.
Definitely was under some type of intelligent control.
Green tubes of fluorescent light.
Dark gray oval.
It was like a UFO type thing.
It looked like someone poked a hole in the cloud. It just all of a sudden disappeared.